the sea. The heron is the one for me. My mother said, get out of the house. I'm trying to keep it clean. And sent me down to the river to fish with my buddies, which was a pure delight until the following spring. That day I went down the hill to the river. There wasn't any river. It was all filled with fish. There were so many herring running up the river. Of course, the dam wasn't there. I know I've been keeping tabs on that for my grave. You know, Shad Factory Pond for the Orleans cotton mill wasn't even there. They go right on up, all the way to the top, up in near Attleboro. And those herring running up to spawn were so thick, they said you could walk across the river on the backs of herring. Am I loud enough?
Yeah.
I didn't try. But around that age, 8, 10 years old, my family decided that I needed an education and a big one. I couldn't just fish the rest of my life. So they sent me into Providence. Well, I lived with some relatives and I studied numbers, arithmetic, and I studied economics so I could become a merchant. I studied geography and I realized there's so many wonderful places in this world that I could explore and adventure that maybe it just didn't have to be the Palmer River. And I went and I studied astronomy so I could navigate at sea. So I learned a lot in Providence. But I wanted to come home after all my adventures in life. Yes, my epitaph is the longest one in the United States. They say I wrote it. But really, all those things aren't that important. You know, at 21, one of the first people to step forward to serve in the Army, Revolutionary War, go fighting with General Washington at Trenton, going to Newport when the British evacuated there, and then I actually lived there for quite a while in Newport. But I wanted to come back home where my family was that had sent me out to seek my fortune. In the meantime, I had 4 houses. I had 6 frigate ships that went to Russia to get steel and rum from the Caribbean, and yeah, I brought back slaves on my ships too. And my life was full, so I was a lieutenant governor in Rhode Island for 2 terms, and at 60 years old, I started feeling my age and my battle wounds, and I said it's time for me to bid adieu. So I came back here, but you know, on that epitaph, there's an epithet. And you might not know the difference between an epitaph, which is what's written on the grave, and an epithet, which characterizes the person, like Richard the Lionhearted, or Henry the Great, or Good Henry, or the Kind King. In those days, 17 and 1800s, when this cemetery was being used, epithets were used as a positive characterization of a person. And when I look at my whole long epitaph, I think about the epithet. I say, what's really important? Well, you can read it either on the map that was given to me about the cemeteries of Rehoboth to have the whole long epitaph on it. But I think the most important part was a kind brother, a good son, a tender husband, affectionate father, and what was the last one? But anyway, maybe humble person. A good neighbor, good neighbor. And that's what I really wanted to be remembered as. A good neighbor who likes to whistle and sing. Oh, I know, on the end of my epitaph it says, adieu, my son, ye stars and moon. I no longer need your light, for God is my sun, who will keep me alive both day and night. Something like that. So adieu, my friend. What do you do with a herring eye? What do you do with a herring eye? Oh, you make them into puddings and pies, herring's eyes. The herring is the one for